In this video, I'm going to be sharpening the blade on my lawnmower. To do this, you're going to have to lean the lawnmower on its side, and it's recommended that you lean it air filter up and with the oil filler cap down. I don't find it necessary to remove all the fuel from the tank. I did this without spilling any gas, so there's no issue. Once it's up on its side, you can see everything you need to see. And one more quick point. Before you start wrenching on the lawnmower blade, it's a good idea to remove the spark plug boot from the spark plug. Now for removing the lawnmower blade, mine takes a 16mm socket, and I'm going to use a breaker bar. Now you have a few options. I do recommend you wear gloves. You could put a block of wood in there as well to keep the lawnmower blade from spinning while you're trying to remove the nut that holds the blade on. Once it's a little bit loose, you should be able to remove it by hand. Now this lawnmower blade is actually a concave blade, so you can see that it is concave on one side and convex on the other, so it could only mount on the lawnmower one way, so there'll be no possibility of having a upside down blade reinstalled on this lawnmower because it just won't mount that way. If you have a straight blade, there is a possibility that you could mount the lawnmower blade upside down, so just keep note of how you removed it from the lawnmower. So you can see the blade has a few dents on it, mainly from hitting children's toys. So I was saying the lawnmower blade has to go on this way. If you put it on this way, you can notice there's just no way that it'll mount properly if it's not done correctly. Now because I'm going to be using a grinder, I am going to wear safety glasses and ear protection. And the first thing I'll show you is this Dremel tool. It has a sharpening attachment for the lawnmower blade. I did not find it worked well for this contoured blade simply because the angle of the blade prevented the actual grinding stone from contacting the lawnmower blade properly. So it's not impossible to do with this this type of lawnmower blade. However, it certainly wasn't an ideal configuration. If you had something of a flatter blade, it would be much easier. After I went over the blade with the Dremel tool using the lawnmower blade sharpening attachment, I hit it with a rough honing stone and a little bit of oil just to remove a few more burrs and get a bit of a finer edge on it. Now for the other side, I'm going to use the Dremel tool again. You can see there's a few burrs in there, again from hitting toys or whatever was left in the grass. This time I'm going to use the Dremel tool without the lawnmower attachment, so just the grinding stone. So for this concave blade, for this lawnmower, I found it was actually easier to use the Dremel without the lawnmower sharpening blade attachment and just use the grinding stone. In order to sharpen both sides of the lawnmower blade, I found it necessary to have two of these Dremel grinding stones because they do wear out fairly quickly. If you had a bench grinder, that would probably work faster than the Dremel. As well, an angle grinder could do a good job. So once again, after I finished grinding the blade down with the Dremel tool, I'm just using this sharpening stone with a bit of oil on it. So there's that side, fairly sharp. Definitely aren't going to cut yourself on it, but much better than it was. So to check imbalance, I just used a socket underneath the lawnmower blade and made sure it wasn't tipping significantly to one side. To replace the blade on this this type of lawnmower, again, you can't put it on upside down. If you have a lawnmower with a flat blade, ensure that it is mounted correctly. So the blade goes on, then this has a bit of a weighted piece that goes on, and then the nut that holds it all together. Now you're going to want to use a torque wrench to get the torque spec on your lawnmower blade correct, and you should check your user's manual to see what the manufacturer recommends for your lawnmower. For this Lawn Boy lawnmower, the torque spec recommendation is 60 foot-pounds. So again, it is helpful to wear gloves when you're doing this because obviously the blade is fairly sharp and you're pulling it at 60 foot-pounds, so it'll prevent you from getting cut, or you can also jam a board in there. And the last thing to do before going to cut the grass is to reinstall the spark plug wire. Overall, this job is pretty fast and easy and is good annual maintenance on your lawnmower. Thanks for checking out my video. Don't forget to like and subscribe.